January 7th, 1861. January 7th, 1861. You got Senator John J. Crittenden of Kentucky. Look at that. That's John J. Crittenden of Kentucky. There are some good people in Kentucky. Actually, it was brother versus brother. And actually, it was 100,000 versus 120 or 25,000. So 80% of all the soldiers that fought in the Civil War that came out of Kentucky fought for the Union, fought for America, fought for Lincoln. So that's pretty good. 80% of all the Kentucky soldiers were on the side of the North, on the side of the United States of America, on the side of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And so that's John J. Crittenden of Kentucky. He's a Unionist. He gives a speech urging passage of his compromise to end secession and to avoid war. To end secession and to avoid war. That's January 7th, 1861. Frederick Douglass here. Ask, what is your 4th of July to the American slave? What is your 4th of July to the American slave? I'll finish this up. Corbin. It is Corbin. In the book of Mark, chapter 7, or book 7. I guess chapter 7. I'm just going to do chapters. Book of Mark, chapter 7. Said, it is Corbin. It is Corbin. It means you can go ahead and put the money straight into the treasury. You don't have to allow the money to be used by your parents. Instead, give it to the temple and therefore give it to God. If you're greedy, that makes sense, right? Give it to the temple, but don't give it to your family. Don't give it to your parents. It says, honor thy father and thy mother. So if you're greedy, you would keep the money for yourself. But if you were actually rooting for the families, then you would tell the families to keep the money for their aging, elderly, ailing parents. It is Corbin. That's what Jesus was chastising the Pharisees and the scribes about. It is Corbin. So what to the American slave is your 4th of July? Former slave Frederick Douglass asked in a speech July 4th, 1852. I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him your celebration is a sham. As he spoke, nearly 4 million people were enslaved in the United States and the South. Reliance on slave labor was growing. Congress had ended the African slave trade in 1808. The domestic slave trade, however, flourished. But a brisk illegal African operation continued. It's estimated that more than 50,000 slaves were smuggled into America between 1808 and the start of the Civil War. Southerners defended their peculiar institution with elaborate arguments based on religion and science and history, economics, averring that slavery supported the entire American economy, not just the South's. Senator John C. Calhoun of South Carolina claimed that slavery was a positive good and that the most safe and stable basis for free institutions in the world. A rising northern politician could not have disagreed more. This is a world of compensations. Abraham Lincoln wrote on April 6, 1859, and he who would be no slave must consent to have no slave. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under a just God cannot long retain it. Cannot long retain it. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under a just God cannot long retain it.